Okay, so it is day 5 of our Spirit Week on Wholeness, brought to you by Active Minds. And we've just been talking about wholeness. What is it? What does it mean? How do we have it? What gets in the way? And what is absolutely essential? So now that we've kind of clarified these issues, what I want to know, what I want us to see and experience is, what are we going to do about it? What are the questions we have to ask ourselves? What are the smart goals we have to set to achieve wholeness and to ensure our own wholeness? Because we're the only one who can do that for ourselves, is really what it comes down to. So, Kiana, this is Kiana. My question for you is, what is going wrong in your life right now?
That's a heavy question, but I think the thing that is happening right now is that I'm very anxious about the future and where I will be at after graduation and everything. So that is something I am anxious about right now.
When do you graduate?
2024, so not even this year, and I'm still worried about it. So yes, I'm anxious about graduation. It's 2024, but I'm still concerned about I don't know, a lot of things, but yeah.
So it sounds like you're a planner, and I am seeing that as an inherent strength. And so tip number 1 is, when you're having problems finding wholeness, ensuring wholeness, make sure to take an objective, clear look at yourself and say, what am I bringing to the table? And even if it is bad chess skills, there is definitely a strength somewhere in there with whatever you're experiencing. And so the fact that you are inherently a planner, I think, already goes so far to ensure that when the time comes, you will have it planned and figured out, because the doors will just open. And so I have a couple more questions for you, just so we can kind of see what clearly needs to happen when we leave this room today. So how much time per day do you spend We'll do per week. How much time per week do you spend thinking about the future? And even if you're not thinking about the future specifically, how much time per week do you experience stress about uncertainty, whether it's the future or what you need to be doing right now to prepare for the future? How much time per week do you experience it? Mentally, physically, whatever.
I'll make a chess move first. I think that I'm gonna do daily, because I can think about that more in a realistic way. So I think I would probably think about the future probably 2 to 3 hours a day, if I had to put it into a time frame. I think about the future quite a bit, and it's very scary because I wish I didn't. I think if anybody asks me what my biggest flaw is, it's that I can't live in the moment. I wish I could, but I'm constantly thinking about what I need to do in the future, or what I can do to help or benefit myself in the future. So yeah, that's a big problem that I have.
2 to 3 hours a day. So 3 hours a day, there's 24 hours in a day. That's an eighth of your day. So if the life expectancy, I don't know what it is, if it's 80 years, that's 10 years of your life spent stressing about the future. Is my math right? I think it's right.
I don't know.
We'll pretend it's right. So yeah, I had my calculator while you were talking. I'm just kidding, I didn't. But that's 10 years of your life just in stress. And so I guess the problem is not that you're stressing, from what I'm seeing, because a healthy amount of stress is good, right? I mean, don't you think? Maybe it's that we have to contain the stress a little bit. Is that the problem you're experiencing? It's just too much time being spent in stress?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. The other night I couldn't sleep because I was looking up the possibilities of nuclear war happening. And so when you think about the realistic possibility of nuclear war happening, it's not going to happen anytime soon, but my brain automatically goes to, man, why am I even worried about the future if the future might not even happen? And what, anxiety, I would say, is a big portion of why I think about the future so much, because I'm just scared. What do I need to do to prepare for it? Yes, but also what do I need to do to have a good future? And am I gonna live? Like, I don't know. I worry about so much. So, I don't know if that answered your question.
So it sounds kind of like it's a spiral, like a
That's
spiral.
a good way to describe it.
Yeah, about like realistic and non-realistic things. Not that nuclear war is non-realistic. I don't know if you've been watching the news recently. So I guess the problem is too much time spent on stress and too much time spiraling. Like you don't know how to stop the spiral.
Yes.
So tip number 2 is clarify the problem. Figure out what it is that is taking away from wholeness. Verbalize it. If you were to write down a statement and turn it into a teacher or something, or like give it to someone to review so that they would understand what's happening, what is it? And it doesn't have to be a big paragraph. It is just, I don't know how to stop the spiral. And so, just thinking about all the time spent per day in the spiral and in the stress, maybe if there was something that you were like conditioned, like if you were to condition yourself to say something when these thoughts start, maybe that would help, like a response, like you have a response to the spiral rather than just giving into it. What do you think that would look like for you?
I think first establishing like what's going on right at this moment that's making me think this way. I think that helps because I think about so many thoughts all the time and I never get to the core reason. So I think establishing and sitting down and just saying out loud, like, what do I feel right now? Instead of just pushing it to the side and more thoughts come, just like seeing what is the core of what I'm feeling and trying to address that issue. So I think speaking aloud and just saying like, right now I feel kind of anxious. Right now I feel kind of sad. Right now I feel kind of mad. And just like having those core issues come to the front instead of just pushing them aside. Because if I just distract myself, how I usually cope is like, okay, I'm gonna go on my phone and just not think about it for hours. Or I'm gonna go watch a show and just not think about it. Then I realize more and more thoughts come instead of just sitting down and really like feeling what I'm feeling. So I think that's something that I definitely need to work on.
That was my move. So
My turn.
who knows? So whoa. So taking the time to stop and figure out what you're feeling is kind of what you're saying. I've heard and I've experienced that like when we feel strong emotions like anxiety and stuff like that, we feel it physically, like in our body, and we have to have like intentionality to experience, to feel it in our minds and to understand it. And so I guess like we are our own puzzle. And so taking time to put together the puzzle or unravel the mystery, whatever metaphor you want to put in place there. So SMART goals I mentioned earlier. Most of us have heard the acronym: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-oriented. Obviously, I've heard it way too much. And so with everything we've thought of so far, what is a goal? Just throw it out there. If it's like, if you have trouble or if it's not a goal that works, then we can work on it. But what's a goal that you can think of to slow down and acknowledge your feelings, to stop the spiral, and to respond to it?
I think a goal that I would like to start doing is when I'm thinking of those things, breathe. And like take time to really just like feel myself breathe, take a moment and just be like, okay, what's happening? And just be silent for a bit. I'm a very talkative person, I'm a very hyper person, and I don't really take the time to just sit there and think about something. So that would be a goal for me, is just to like be okay with doing nothing and just breathe for a little bit. So that would be a specific goal, I guess.
Yeah, that's specific. I think it's measurable because every time you have those thoughts or every time the spiral starts, and that's a measure because it's every time. Do you think it's attainable for you? Yeah. Okay. Realistic? It seems pretty realistic. I mean, I think you're capable of doing that. And time-oriented, I'm not sure if that's very much in the puzzle right now. So, like, how long would you be doing this? when the spiral starts?
I think I would want to give myself 5 minutes. I think that's a good amount of time just for me to collect everything. Just 5 minutes in silence, no distraction, just like me breathing. If I have to go somewhere quiet, I should do that. Yeah, 5 minutes.
5 minutes. I like that. That is really, really attainable. So, that is a SMART goal. It is a response to a problem. And you said earlier that this is something that kind of gets in the way of your wholeness. And so, this is just one action plan in the whole life of a person, one little slice of the pie. So, you can do this with like any problem in your life, any problem that you're experiencing, is stopping, responding, and really asking the questions and setting the goals. And so, thank you for your honesty, because that's something that I struggle with, but I can set goals for that later. Thank you for your honesty, and thank you for being just frank. I feel like I've learned a bit from you during this time about like how to examine our thoughts. Do you have any closing comments for our viewers here about the goals that you want to set and the wholeness that you want to ensure yourself from here on out?
Nothing to add, just that I love Sally.
You heard it here, folks. Anyways, so this is the end of Spirit Week, and I am so glad to close it out with Kiana. Be sure to attend The Well tomorrow, because that is where we will be putting these action plans into place and doing a final recap. So I can't wait to see you there, and thank you so much.